Because I can say, even in my really kind of white suburban environment, I felt like, Black culture, whether it was through music or TV shows, and I was coming up in the era, like when I was in high school, like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Martin and all those sorts of shows were on. And my white classmates definitely liked them and thought they were funny, and sometimes really, really tried to use them to relate to me in a way that did not work. I mean,
because it was different than your experience,
well, because to them that was the measure of that's what being Black is.
Black is.
And I was a lot more of a Huxtable kid. I studied classical piano for 20 years. So a lot of the questions I would get were like, well, Marin, why aren't you like, real Black people? Or they would try to say things like, oh, well, like, I'm more Black than Marin because I know all the characters are Martin because I didn't really watch Martin that much. Like things like that. Like that was their measure of what being Black was. So it was kind of weird. But also it felt as if like it was comfortable because it was entertainment. Whereas in our academic environments, like I graduated top of my class, and that made a lot of the same students who thought Martin was really cool, really angry. And would even get similar sentiments from talking, to my parents as they were growing respective businesses and things like that, that there was kind of this sentiment of, it's great if we're running up and down a field or court, but don't try to own the team. It's great when you're on the talk show, but don't try to, own the production company and compete in business. Oh, it's great when you're, and this is also why my parents were very, very strict on making sure my brothers and I were not like class clowns and things like that, because they were just like, that's what's expected of you. You're supposed to have the funny one-liners and you're supposed to whatever, where it's just like, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to go in there and compete academically. So it was interesting seeing that, it was kind of a cool, but cool in a certain context.
How did you experience that anger? How did you experience that? Like, was it anger because they're competitive, or did you feel that the anger was projected towards you because you were Black and on top?
Well, first of all, I didn't really understand it, and actually until I was older. I mean, because again, look, a lot of this is reflecting back as now, a Black woman in my 40s, right? When I was in school, I wanted to fit in so badly, to the point that my, teachers and things like that would have to have conversations with my parents because they were concerned that I would start not speaking up as much in class, or I would be embarrassed if I got the A+ on the exam or whatever, because it was really clear that I was doing all I could to fit in, and they didn't want to see me compromise my academic performance to try to do that. Which, I mean, I know is common amongst kids of all different sorts of races, but that tended to be, the big concern. It was, I think the first time I got really angry was senior year of high school when college acceptances started coming in. Where, I had went to the same high school for all 4 years, and at the end of every year, they would announce who had the highest GPA, and they would give out awards for who excelled in all the different subjects, like the most outstanding English student, that kind of a thing. And it was a joke amongst my classmates, why do we even go? Marin sweeps the awards, and I did. And then, senior year came around, and I remember the big point of contention was when I got into Duke and one of my white male classmates didn't. And that was when I really felt the turn, and it was the whole, like, those schools have to let you in because you're Black. And then, looking back on it, some of it was parents. My parents told me, you're going to get in everywhere that you apply because you're Black. And that was when I got angry. I was like, y'all have seen me for the last 4 years. First of all, I tutored some of you over the last 4 years to help you pass certain classes. And then that's what it whittles down to.